Hi, Andrew. Thanks very much for joining us today, and I really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you very much, Charles. Very appreciate being here. Thank you for the invite.
Awesome. First, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What you do, what kind of investing trading experience you have before joining Algocrat?
Yes, certainly. I think, like perhaps quite a few others in the community here, I'm from an IT background. Um, I've been a senior consultant for a number of years working for Microsoft Gold Partners. And in the last few years, I created my own company. And so I've been a freelance consultant. Um, and that's all been good. But I'm also getting closer to retirement age now, so I have to be looking at long-term options. And so, a number of years ago, we had a big event that shook the planet, and whether we liked it or not, lots of us were locked up, and I found myself in the position where I had lost about overall, by, by the time things finished, I'd lost about 12 to 18 months of contracts in the UK. And it made me realize that, of course, you can't rely on governments or any sort of external agency to pick you up and get you back on track in life. It's just not going to happen. So I looked a number of years ago at the field of trading because I wanted to be able to have a go at trading, try and develop an edge for myself. Um, Similar sort of mental outlook, I suppose, would be if you decided to learn how to cook so that you could be self-sufficient with cooking. And trading for me, I wanted to learn how to trade, and then the theory was I would never have to worry about making money again. Of course, it's quite a rough journey. I think it has to be said. Uh, the big challenge I think over the last few years has been cultivating the right mindset for trading. Um, I experimented with a number of EAs quite a few years ago. I've been involved with a few hosted services that would provide EAs. And I came across Valerie Trading and Valerie's EAs a couple of years ago, and I was very impressed. I purchased the Trader AI software, and I was getting very good results with that. And by far, it was the best EA that I had encountered at that point. So, based on the success of that, I took a keen interest in Algocrat when I saw the service being advertised in its very early stages, I think just over a year ago. It was starting to come online. I understand it had been running for a few years previously um, with a bit of a pilot group. Um, and I suppose I suppose I was waiting on the sidelines for about 6 months before finally taking the plunge, and I'm glad I did. So let's take it from there.
All right. Well, that's thank you very much for that introduction. Yes, it was a challenging time, and you reinvented yourself. So, and using that, what we just said, uh, what was your doubts before joining with actually Algocrat? Did you have any questions before starting?
Of course, because the whole forex sphere itself, and I'm lumping Algorithmic into the forex sphere, although we're crypto trading, but the forex sphere is, I'd say, it's a bit of a shark tank, and you can easily become blindsided by all of the get rich quick videos that you'll see coming across on YouTube, and you'll hear people's success stories. You'll never hear about the failures. And yes, I was very mindful of hype. Yeah, before I would say a lot of my doubts were resolved Beforehand, though, because I had the experience of working with set trader AI software, so I wasn't coming into Algocrat completely blindly. I'd had experience with Valerie trading, and uh, I think my doubts were addressed um, by the support that I got with Valerie trading, and also I think the attention to detail and research. I was quite impressed with some of the research articles that Valerie had put together on the AI sphere. And of course, AI is it's just taking everything over, isn't it? I mean, it's going to get to the point quite soon where we won't even know if we're talking to another human on the other end. In fact, am I really talking to Charles or am I talking to Charles's avatar? We don't know. So it seems to me that you can either try and you have to accept AI um, as a huge emerging force, and if you don't try and harness that force or energy, then I heard it quoted somewhere. You will just be a data point. Um, so you want to make sure that you don't have to get to grips with understanding all the ins and outs of AI, but you can't be afraid of it. You have to try and utilize it as a tool and as a service. And from my experience of trying to learn trading, which is literally trial and error, um, it's much better to defer tasks to people who really know what they're doing. I mean, I class myself as a student of trading. I've been a student of trading for 6 years now, I think, all told. And I'll always be a student of trading, always be learning. Uh, and yeah, it just makes sense to me that if you find someone that has got the expertise, has got the inclination, when I've learnt that in the IT field as well, you can't hope to be an expert in all areas. You might be able to target one area and become an expert. Also, AI is taking over whatever field you think you're an expert in anyway. So that's
The
another
AI
thing
can
we
do
have
it
to come to
better.
terms with. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yes, exactly. I can spend decades learning to be an analyst and a consultant, and then AI comes along and spits out answers in seconds that would have taken me days to research. So um, yeah, I did have some fears initially, which kept me on the sidelines. I wanted to see how Algocrat was performing, which is why I waited a few months before joining in. Um, so yes,
Do you feel confident that with what Valerie is doing with Algocrat and AI altogether, EA, AI, and all this, do you feel confident that's the way to go with Algocrat?
yes,
All right.
yes, with Algocrat for certain. It's not the things that attracted me to it. It's not a grid martingale solution. So for those who are new to expert advisors, in general, a lot of automated programs that are used for currency trading or even stock trading are employing betting strategies which have come from casinos, where you basically double down on every loss. Um, it can produce a nice, fairly smooth equity curve. As it looks like your funds are going up and up and up, and then all of a sudden crash. Your account is gone. Um, so I was impressed with Valerie's software. That she has software which I haven't tried yet, which isn't grid martingale. But even though the Percept Trader AI tool was grid martingale, it was utilizing AI to filter the trades in the first instance, which meant that the trades it picked had a much higher probability of succeeding. And it's all a game of probabilities. Without trying to analyze each trade, basically you just want to you want to choose a solution based on its probability of success. And I think that's a mindset challenge when you start off with when you start off with Algocrat is there's a tendency to try and overanalyze each trade as it comes along, and we have to switch our minds off when we're doing that. That's what we're paying. That's the service that we're paying for, and just let the AI run with it.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for that. So you connected your account in January, that's correct? In
Yes,
January of
middle of
25.
middle of January. Yeah.
All right. How was the onboarding? What was the onboarding like? How easy it was to get started with Algocrat?
Um, Very smooth. I think because I already had experience of working with a broker before, because I had already been trading before. So I already had a broker lined up, which I had used and trusted. And I liked the fact that Algocrat was available with a number of different brokers, so I could use the broker I was already comfortable with. That was Vantage. And so they were able to get me set up. Um, yeah, the onboarding was very smooth. I think I just had to wait a couple of days for the connection to be verified. It wasn't too long. Um, yeah, I mean, nothing to it really.
So it
I
was
think if
easy.
I was, I'm sorry.
It was easy to go.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yes, no problems there.
That's what we aim for. Well, that's very good for that. Can you show us? Do you mind showing us your dashboard, and walking us through all what you had since the beginning?
Absolutely.
All right.
There
So
we
here we
go.
go.
Okay. So yes, you can see there in the graph. I started in the middle of January, and we are just under or just about 6 months into the process, and it's looking like about a 55% gain at the moment, which is fantastic. It's just phenomenal.
Can you change
Um,
the performance for 365 days? The first one? Yeah, that one.
yes, certainly. Yes. Let's go back down there.
Perfect.
Okay. There we are. Okay, so that's showing 50%. So 50% growth in just about 6 months, which is phenomenal. Um, so so my strategy here is to aim to double the account, and if it goes at the rate it has been going, if it were a linear curve, and of course it's not, but if it were a linear curve, we could expect to see a doubling within the next 3 to 4 months potentially. So uh, very excited to be part of that. I'm not withdrawing any profits. I'm basically just reinvesting my money into the service,
Mhm.
just paying off the commission each month and letting the fund accumulate. But once it gets to it's 100% growth, I'll be withdrawing 50% of the profits and reinvesting 50%. So it should continue to grow.
Awesome. How do you feel about letting this system work for you?
Yeah, that's where the mindset comes in because initially, of course, one's very nervous. I mean, it's not an insignificant amount of money that's being invested here. So uh, initially, I wanted to know what trades it was picking up, and I wanted to have a go at trying to analyze the trades. That's why I've got no hair left on the top of my head there, pulling my hair out in the process. Um, and yeah, you're just making things stressful for yourself. There were some others who were on the community, had been around for a lot longer, and said just check into the funds, once in a while, but don't try and analyze every trade. And I think that's really good advice, um, because progress is not linear. Progress is never in a straight line. And when it comes to mindsets, you've got to be prepared to take losses as well as gains. So you're going to see days, weeks, months, even quarters of losses. But from what I've seen so far, Algocrat um, is able to recover very well. And my perception of it is I think at Algocrat is like and I'm not a fisherman, so you can ignore what I'm about to say. Uh, but it's a bit like big game fishing. It would seem to me that so you may be trying to analyze every micro movement of Algocrat, and it will have a stab at taking a trade when it thinks a breakout is occurring. And of course, it will have a failure rate there of where it's trying to spot a breakout and doesn't quite grab it. But what I've seen is very impressive that when the breakout does occur, Algocrat is throwing everything into it. And you can see that lovely rise in the curve in the last week where we were able to capitalize from the latest Bitcoin rally, which is phenomenal. So I think we saw something like on this account about a 25% growth in 2 days. And not only can we make money, of course, when the market is rising, but if in this particular rally crypto's become a bit overbought, then we could be in a good position to capitalize from any retracement that may occur there as well. So
Awesome.
yeah, so whether the market goes up or the market goes down, it's a great service, great tool to use.
Thank you very much for those insights. I'm sure everybody loved it. And well, and if we come back here to our stage, and we're almost finalizing. If someone and maybe a friend, a family member, a business partner, asked you about Algocrat, how would you recommend it?
Um, I would be happy to help them along with the process. I think the results from the next few weeks, the last few weeks, sorry, have inspired me to try and become an affiliate. So I would look to try and guide them through the process personally. Uh, I I think with everything, I'd always advise a period of learning and research before diving in. And I think the important thing here with this tool, this service, it's about the mindset. It's all investments carry the caveat. You have to be prepared to lose what you're putting in. That's just the nature of it. Uh, so don't invest money that you cannot afford to lose. Um, Nonetheless, this is proving to be an investment that's I think proving for itself its worth over just 6 months. And I think I'd look to judge the performance on the service on a 6 month or a 12-month basis. So for friends and family that wanted to get in, I would say resist the urge to be checking the balance every day. Maybe step aside from it. The important times are the end of the month when the invoices are being prepared. And so if you have an invoice, that's good news because it means that the service has made a profit. And and that's another thing as well. I like the business model. I mean, it's built on that fundamental win-win premise. So if the if the tool works and it makes money for the stewards of Algocrat, Valerie Trading, and it makes money for us. So we're all in it together, and I think that's a very positive situation to be in.
Well, thank you very much, Andrew. And as a final message, is there anything else you would like to share to any of our users or anybody that you just gave a lot of recommendations at the end? But is there anything else you'd like to share as we finalize our interview to our maybe to a user who is just starting or just looking into starting?
Yes, if you're just looking into starting, then of course do your research. Have a look on my FX book, for example. Look at the past history of the tool. Valerie's written a couple of articles on, for example, when is the best time to join, because that I think was a key question on my mind when I started. Thought, do I wait for the fund to dip before trying to jump in? Uh, and I happened to join at the end of what was a big rally. So there was a retracement when I first joined, which you can see in the month of February on the results. So uh, my portfolio had a slight rise after a few days, and then there was quite a big drop, as you can see, where that's gone down. So that's because that was a retracement following on from what was a really big rally in December and January, what I understand. So do expect those peaks and troughs, and just keep the faith. Be mindful of the long term progress of the tool and hang in there.
All right. Andrew, thank you very much for your time. It was a lovely chatting with you, and I wish you a lot of profits. And you keep up with us, and I'll probably be seeing you very soon.
My pleasure, Charles. Thank you very much.
Bye
All the
bye.
best. Bye bye.